You're watching the Oklahoma City Thunder Squad Show. I'm Tyler Jones, and I'm going to tell you why MVP race is pretty much over. It's SGA's to lose.
I'm Rylan Stiles. I'm going to tell you why the Wilt continues to step up for this team, especially against Denver.
I'm Jay Lamb. I'm going to talk about SGA's historic night.
I'm Derek Parker. I'm going to talk about Ajay Mitchell's return.
This is Locked On's Thunder Squad Show, the twice-a-week show where Thunder talk gets real. No filters, no fluff, just raw takes, sharp opinions, and straight-up passion for the game, the way only Locked On Podcast Network knows how. Let's drop some dimes and squad up. The Thunder Squad Show starts now.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome in to another edition of the Oklahoma City Thunder Squad Show. Tyler Jones here with you. Happy to have you with us. We got the full squad in hand on this Tuesday, joined alongside by Rylan Stiles, Jeremy Lamb, Derek Parker. Pleased to have you all along for the ride today. And before we go any further in today's show, this episode is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger potential wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. Guys, what a win for the Oklahoma City Thunder last night against the Denver Nuggets, 129-126. And it was a historic night for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as he tied Wilt Chamberlain for the most consecutive 20-point games in NBA history. Shai's stat line last night, 35 points in 39 minutes, going 14 of 21 from the field, 3 of 7 from three, with 9 rebounds and 15 assists, getting the job done as the Thunder had some big moments from SGA with a late three that seemed to be the dagger until there was a 4-point play for Denver, and then he fouled that up with another three to win it in the closing seconds for Oklahoma City to advance to 51-15 on the season. Rylan, you were in the building last night. Let's start with you. What a performance from SGA to get the job done and to tie that record from Wilt Chamberlain there.
Yeah, it was a great game from Shai, and anytime that he steps onto the court, you have a chance to win. That's the kind of player that he is. He's truly an all-time great player, and with more time under his belt, that'll be consensus among everyone watching him play if it isn't already, because this game, the Thunder really didn't have any business winning it. Denver, as healthy as they've been all season long, OKC was down so much. No Isaiah Hartenstein, no Chet Holmgren, no Alex Caruso, no Jaylin Williams, and it just ended up not mattering, even though Aaron Gordon started out hot with 19 points in that first quarter because it was a matchup nightmare for this team. It all evened out because of SGA, and he really carried this team, and he made the right decisions. He didn't force the issue. He didn't play outside of himself, and in doing so, he had 0 turnovers, 35 points. He had all these assists, setting his teammates up perfectly with the 15 assists. Given the amount of attention that he drew from Denver, he was efficient, and it was truly a historic night. I think it was the best game he's ever played in the regular season, and what a night that it was to tie the record for Wilt and show how consistent that he is, but most importantly, get the win, because I think that if you were going to handicap this game going into it with all that we knew of who all was out, this should have been a massive statement from Denver, and instead it became a statement from Oklahoma City. And their statement is just that they're the best team in basketball with the widest margin of error, because not even mentioning the fact that they had all those guys out, plus Lu Dort went 2 for 11, Kaysen was 2 for 6 and in foul trouble the entire night. So you really take those guys away as being additive players to this Thunder team, and yet they still got a win over Denver, got it into the clutch, and dominated because of SGA hitting massive shots after massive shots, and he was just sensational.
Indeed, those 2 big 3-pointers late in the game. I'm paraphrasing here, but he said in the post-game news conference that he already has the answers. He just needed to know what the questions to the test were. And Jeremy, he certainly passed that test last night. When the Thunder needed SGA the most, he came through.
For sure. He's been doing it for years now. I mean, it's like you're surprised, but then again, you're not, because he just keeps doing it. But he continued right when you feel like he's done everything that, possibly he can do. He just keeps coming, keep putting the pressure on you. And last night, all he needed to do was get 20 points to, tie the record. But instead, he's one rebound away from a triple double. Like, he's not worried about scoring or whatever. He wants to do whatever it takes to win. And you see it. I mean, if you're the opposing coach and you're trying to get your team ready to play against SGA, I mean, they're basically saying, look, he's going to get 30 points. We got to make him make somebody else win and make whatever. At the end of the day, the Thunder have other people that can do that. And half of them wasn't playing. To Rylan's point, they wasn't playing last night, and they still found a way to get, big buckets from Ajay Mitchell, from what's the point guard just came over there?
Jared McCain?
Yeah, McCain. He had some big threes. He was playing with confidence. I mean, just looking at their team as a whole, and he's the head of the snake of it. They literally follow his lead. He's leading them incredibly. You could look at all the stats and all that, but he's a silent leader as well. He's loud in terms of he let his game do the talking. He let what he wear do the talking. But as far as him actually talking, he lets what he does talk for him. And that's the beauty in it. He doesn't cry to the refs every call. I mean, he's just out there handling business. So for him to tie that record, that's a huge thing. And he's only going to keep going.
I heard Sir Charles Barkley say relatively recently that great players step up in great moments. And with SGA, what we've seen, Derek, time and time again, and last night was another example of this, in the biggest moments against the toughest competition, playing against MVP caliber players, here's SGA playing at his best. The moment does never get too big for this guy. He shows up when they need him to, and last night was another example of that.
Yeah, there were questions about this, 3-4 years ago, and they just seem so silly now in the context of what Shai has done with this organization and this team. I mean, obviously an NBA champion, an MVP, scoring title, but even looking at it last night, I mean, he was 1 for 5 from 3 before those 2 shots, and then they need 6 points. He gives them 6 points. Like, he's just unbelievable at just elevating his game when the team needs him. And it was kind of a perfect storm in terms of Denver has absolutely nobody that can even remotely guard Shai. So I think in terms of the scoring record, like, kind of felt like an ultimatum already. And then in addition to that, he had probably his best passing game of all time on a night that he, ties the scoring record. So he's unbelievable, continues to get better time and time again. There's absolutely no cap for this guy's ceiling. So unbelievable night for him and the Thunder as a whole.
This record, we've talked about it on this show, how far back this goes. You're in very elite territory when we're talking about any record involving Wilt Chamberlain and how long this took. Tell the folks out there just about the significance of this record that he tied with Wilt Chamberlain and what this means.
I think that when you look at him tying Wilt's record, first of all, like, the reason that we're talking about this now, and it's not like something that we already had on our minds, because nobody's come close to having this level of consistency in scoring 20 or more points. But you look around at David Adelman last night talking about it, Jokić, I mean, the Thunder guys all talking about it, Jaylin Williams especially. Like, this is special, just given the fact that it's been over 60 years since we've seen somebody come even close to getting to Wilt's record of 126 straight games, scoring 20-plus points. And what it takes to go into it, not only performing at your best of just going in every night and scoring 20 or more points, but you think of all the things that can go wrong. You twist your ankle in the first quarter. Well, you don't get to 20 points and your streak is over. You get ejected like Wilt did. That's how Wilt's streak ended. You got ejected in the first 13 minutes of a game. You get ejected. Your streak's over with. There's so many things that can go wrong for you on top of just not having a good night, that for it to stack up to 126 straight games, especially in the modern era of basketball, like it is remarkable for SGA. And the thing about it is, you look at these games and you can count on maybe one hand how many times that you could tell Shai was trying to score 20. other than that, it's came through the flow of the offense. It's came through making the right decisions, and it's came through tough buckets in spite of how daunting the coverages have been, in spite of how much attention that he's getting from other teams. And you look at Thursday, it could be a special game to put yourself in that number one category by yourself and officially push Wilt down to number two and have that number one spot to yourself. Anytime you can do that with Wilt Chamberlain, it's a larger than life figure. It's a mythical figure. Like there's records with Wilt that you never thought would be broken. That's why you don't talk about them until Shai forces you to talk about them, until Shai does what he does. And it's been really incredible to see, and really fortunate for a place like Oklahoma City, who once again has an all-time great player. And you look at a small market like this, you're not supposed to get many all-time great players in a market size like Oklahoma City. There are some franchises out there that would do a lot of things to have one player the caliber of Shai or Kevin Durant or Russell Westbrook or whoever. And the Thunder have had a lot of them walk through these halls and wear that jersey, and Shai's the latest one, and Shai's the best one that's ever done it. So I think that with Shai, you have to really appreciate the greatness that you're seeing right now, and the history you're seeing right now right in front of you.
The face of the league right now plays for the Oklahoma City Thunder and is Canadian. I mean, just to give folks an idea, just how surreal kind of all this is at the moment. And Jeremy, when we look ahead to Thursday's game against the Boston Celtics, when he has that chance to break that record from Wilt Chamberlain, and we'll see how long this potentially goes. What a stage potentially. We saw just last night felt like a playoff atmosphere against Denver. And now you go up against one of the very best teams in the NBA that, has Tatum back and everything. I mean, this is setting up for something special for this to happen. National television game and everything of what's ahead for SGA to try to break this record on Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like last game, I feel like it was a lot building up on that. And you see what he did in that game. And I just feel like it's more pressure to tie it than it is to actually beat it. Now he can kind of breathe and be like, all right, that's crazy, I'm here, but let me go ahead and, catch it. So he might miss a couple early, easy ones to shake off the nerves maybe, but it's going to be a huge game. It's going to be a huge moment for him and his family, for the organization. And like you said, on top of that, they're playing a great team. It's not like they're, just playing somebody and whatever they're supposed to win. No, it's a big game, with Jason Tatum being back. You never know what they could do in the East and catch some momentum. You might see them in the finals. So it could be, they definitely going to build that narrative and stuff like that. But from what we've seen, he's going to stay in the moment. He's going to be ready. It's gonna be an exciting time for him and the fans for sure.
Derek, when I look at this streak, the significance is just the consistency of getting those 20-point games night in and night out. Rylan mentioned your streaks can end in a number of different ways, and the fact that that not only has he avoided those things, whether it be a first quarter injury or an ejection, but also just avoided the bad shooting nights on top of that to keep this streak going. I mean, it's remarkable of how many different ways that could have ended to avoid this day from getting here.
Yeah, I think people, can kind of poke fun at my whole life's consistent and the comments like that. But at the end of the day, I think this is one of the more consistent scores of the basketball that we have ever seen. I mean, even guys, you go back and look at some of the all-time greats, like they have off nights. And I think Shai, there's some off nights, but it's not even to that level. Like an off night for him is, 25 points on 17 shots. Like that's just an absurd level of consistency and efficiency. He's so efficient with just everything, his movement, the shots that he takes, the way that he plays the game, the way that he lets the defense kind of dictate what he's going to do. Even Nikola Jokić last night after the game, like they asked him about it and he was like, yeah, that's an unbelievable achievement to be that consistent and score 20 that many times in a row. So even like his fellow superstars are like aware that, this is not normal stuff that we're seeing.
It's unbelievable. And we'll see if he can finish the job on Thursday night against the Boston Celtics as he tries to break that record and hold it for himself. Already tied it. We'll see if he can finish the job next. More to come on the Oklahoma City Thunder Squad Show. Up next, let's talk about the MVP race. Now that SGA has tied the record, is the MVP race over at this point after winning head-to-head against Joker and the Nuggets? Also, a big night for J. Will last night as he stepped up again. We'll discuss that as well as we continue. 1 down, 3 to go. Stay with us here at the Oklahoma City Thunder Squad Show. There's nothing like being in an NBA arena. The crowd, the energy, the moment. Getting tickets, though, that part hasn't always been so simple. That's why GameTime has become the go-to app for scoring tickets fast without the hassle. It puts the advantage back where it belongs with the fans. I've been a big fan of GameTime for a very long time, folks. I've used it to go to NFL games, NBA games, college events, and more, and you can too. Here's what you need to do, folks. Pull up the GameTime app, pick up an upcoming game, and you can get those tickets locked in within minutes. They have their all-in pricing up front, so there's no surprise fees at checkout. And you have the seat views option where you get the 3D effect where you get an idea of what that seat looks like before you purchase it. Great last-minute options with NBA tickets showing up at solid prices. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. That's code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the GameTime app today. And remember, it's gametime.co, not .com. Welcome back to the Oklahoma City Thunder Squad Show. Jeremy Lamb, Derek Parker, Rylan Stiles, Tyler Jones back here with you now. The MVP discussion, let's shift gears to that. The odds dramatically shifted last night towards SGA's favor after the win over Denver, and he has distanced himself quite a bit from what he was entering last night. And it felt like an MVP performance. If this was college football, we would be saying last night was his Heisman moment, like to give you kind of an idea what we're talking about last night, folks. And going over the stat line again, 35 points, 9 rebounds, 15 assists. A few weeks ago, one of the things we were talking about on this show was, would SGA even be eligible because of the 65-game rule and the injuries and trying to make sure he stayed available? But then he did come back in time, and it looks like that he's on track to be okay when it comes to the 65-game rule. So now, Jeremy, let's start with you with this night that he had last night and with how he's played all season, and seems like he's in good shape with the 65-game rule and everything. Do you feel pretty confident that SGA is going to be the MVP? Is this MVP race over with at this point now?
Over is a strong word. I wouldn't say it's over, but it's I mean, he's definitely running away with it. I mean, he continued to put pressure on the voters every night. He is literally doing something that is spectacular, and we just keep, trying to figure out how. So the fact that he has this team at the top of the West, some people are evening out a little bit. And at first I was talking about Cade and Jaylen Brown. Those guys are there. I'll still put them up there, but I think Shai is head and shoulders right now. The Spurs are on their heels, but other than that, they gonna be the number 1 seed and probably the number 1 overall seed. So again, the way he's playing, like you said, with that performance last night, the streak he's on, he's leading the league in clutch points. I mean, he's just doing everything for the team with all the injuries they've had, and he just continues to put the team on his back and have big performance after big performance throughout the whole game, whether they need him early, whether they need him late. At first he wasn't playing fourth quarters. Now he's playing overtimes and whatever it is. So he's definitely running away with it. It's not totally over, but yeah, he's on his way to another one for sure.
Derek, what say you? The MVP race, is this Is this a done deal for SGA at this point, or is there still an opening for somebody else to take this away?
Yeah, I agree with Jeremy. I wouldn't just call it over because that feels like a lot to do right now. As you know, it's still March 10th, but certainly running away with it. I think especially when you look at his competition right now. I mean, it's probably Jokić right there, and he has the 3-0 head-to-head advantage. He has obviously like big moments in all of those games. Denver is now the 6th seed. Like that's pretty hard to overcome when the Thunder again have the best record in the NBA. They're probably going to finish number 1 at the absolute least, like number 2 in the total standings, or maybe number 2 behind San Antonio. And then these other guys just don't feel quite there yet. I mean, Wemby's spectacular, Cade's spectacular. Like they'll have their moments here in the next couple of years. But in terms of MVP for me, I always like to think of it as who would best represent this season of basketball. And it feels like Shai. It was Shai last year, and I think he'll certainly get the award again.
What say you? What's kind of your thoughts on the MVP race right now?
If he plays 65 games, it's over. Nobody can beat him for the MVP award. As long as he gets that 65 game threshold, SGA will have his second straight NBA MVP. The moments that he's had this year, the consistency that he's had this year, the production he's had this year, and the Thunder's wins, simply enough. I mean, whether they're the 1 seed or the 2 seed, no matter if San Antonio catches them or not, this is by far exceeding the expectations of this team. If we would have told you back in October all of the injury struggles that they would go through, including to SGA, that they'd still be a top 2 seed in the NBA, you would not have believed that at that point. You would have not thought that to be true. But instead, SGA made it happen. And he's made it secured to where you're absolutely going to be a top 2 seed in the NBA. And for that alone, that accounts for the team success. And then individually, he blows everybody out of the water this year individually. And there's going to be, to Derek's point, years where it's Wemby's turn, years where it's Jokic's turn again, years where it's Luka's turn. I fully believe in Luka still. Years where it's Cade's turn, but not this year. Not this year. This year is Shai's season.
I see somebody in the comments bring up a good point about, talking about who represents the season, who tells the story of the season. And it does feel like Shai's year, his time is happening right now. And Derek, you look at just those other candidates, and as Rylan says, you've had guys that have had spectacular campaigns, but I don't think anybody represents this league right now the way SGA does in terms of the seasons he's having. But when you talk about value, that 20-point streak and all, and everything Oklahoma City's gone through, no one's been more valuable. For looking at that dictionary definition of MVP, that's a picture of SGA this year.
Yeah, I think the best in the world conversation is certainly that. It's a conversation. The MVP right now, again, if he makes the 65 game mark, I don't know that it is. Like Jokić, phenomenal player. Do you really want this season to be a part of one of his, MVP years? I don't think so. Again, the Nuggets have been inconsistent. He's been a little less efficient and just a little less talented, I think, than normal, which is fair given their level of injuries. Very Thunder-esque in that sense. And then these other guys, like Rylan said, they're going to have their moments. Like Wemby will be an MVP in the near future. I think Cade can absolutely get to that point. But again, Shai's playing at the top of his game right now. Like he is the reigning MVP and has also elevated his game further. That's absurd. They have the best record in the league. That's absurd. So yeah, I mean, I just think it's Shai's to lose. I don't know that there's really a strong argument for anything else right now.
Yeah, 100%. And folks, we want to thank you for making the Locked On Thunder podcast your first listen of the day. And thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. If you haven't already, go check out our new Everydayer Club. Access to an ad-free audio feed for the Locked On Thunder podcast, compatible with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and every other major podcast platform. An invite to the members-only Locked On Everydayer Club Discord server, which includes a group chat just for listeners of this show where you can interact with Rylan. Special all-access episodes of the Locked On Thunder podcast, one-on-one texting. All you need to do, folks, is go to lockedonthunder.supercast.com or tap the link in the show notes to learn more. Check it out now, and you'll be glad you did. All right, Jeremy, let's go to you now. So, as Derek mentions, there's two separate conversations to be had when it comes to the MVP and the best player in the world. At the beginning of this season, I was the only one on this show that was saying SGA was the best player in the world. I thought he was better than Joker. Now where we stand, as we're closing in on the end of the regular season, Jeremy, what's kind of your opinion? Has your thoughts changed? Where does SGA fit as far as that best player in the world? Has he taken that mantle away from Joker, or is it still Joker in your eyes right now?
That's a tough question for sure. I mean, I would give him the MVP nod. I would give him, that. As far as best player in the world, I mean, is he playing the best right now? Yes. I mean, he's playing the best right now. But Jokic is still averaging a triple-double. Like, that's incredible, and that's incredible consistency in itself. So, I mean, when first time I started seeing that was Russ, and it's like, man, like I never thought that we'd start seeing that again, especially from a big man. I mean, what he's doing in the game is incredible as well. He's just not on a streak, which that's what makes it so incredible with SGA is like we've seen all these great players, all these great scorers, and you would think like, oh, okay, is Tracy McGrady up there? Is KD up there? Is LeBron, like you would think that, but they're nowhere near it. So it's incredible. He's playing the best right now, but I still don't know if he's better or if Jokic is better than him. They still right here for me.
Rylan, where's your opinion stand now on that debate?
Yeah, I think that he's as 1A, 1B with him and Jokic, and you can have whichever one fits your preferences the best. I think that if you slightly give the edge to Shai defensively and make him 1A, that makes sense. If you think that Jokic's offense is just so overwhelming and all the ways that he can impact the game that you don't really care about his defense, and he's 1A and Shai's 1B, then that makes sense as well. I think that these are the clear-cut two best players in the league, though. There's not even a third guy to be in the same breath as those two. And so at that point, you're really splitting hairs. I think that for this season, you would go with Shai. The overall body of work still lends itself to Jokic, but a few years down the line of Shai continuing to outplay Jokic could change that. But right now, it's 1A, 1B. Again, the body of work says Jokic, but this season says Shai, so we'll see how it all stacks up in the future. But it's kind of semantics at that point.
There's been a lot of discussion over the last couple of years about the NBA's transition from the Steph LeBron era to what's next, what's ahead, and who was going to kind of take over the league of sorts. And Derek, one thing that I look at now in this next iteration, with what we're living in with Joker and SGA both, I think it's a healthy debate to be had between these two. But the fact that these two are in the same division and meet up quite a bit, this is going to be a lot of fun for years to come between these two of these matchups and what some would argue maybe one of the best kind of new rivalries in the NBA of sorts. But there's great respect that goes between these two. Of course, we have some stuff going on with Lou Dort and others, but if there's a winner throughout this, I think it's us. I think it's the fans that get to enjoy seeing these two go back and forth for many years to come here.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I feel like there's always this debate of like who's going to be the face of the league and all these things. I think that kind of works itself out naturally. And I think if you're looking at Shai and Nikola Jokic as kind of the best in the world, the two best battling for MVP, faces of the league, whatever you want to say, I think that's a great thing. I think these guys, are both kind of homegrown in-market guys. Obviously, Shai gets 1 year late, but Jokic has been a Denver lifer. Obviously, they're both very respectful of each other. They're both completely dedicated to the craft, just unbelievable players in very different ways. So I agree. I think it's a great thing to have this kind of healthy rivalry. Again, I think there's a lot of respect between these two teams. I said it on here last week, but I think these teams make each other better. I think the players make each other better. And I agree. I think the fans ultimately win out here because, both of these guys are just spectacular.
No question about it. And Rylan, just looking ahead, what we saw last night could have been a potential playoff preview of sorts. I know that Denver has slipped quite a bit down the standings here, but I still think, that's I would like Oklahoma City's chances in a series with Denver, but that doesn't mean it doesn't make it a difficult series. That it wouldn't be a tough stretch for Oklahoma City. That they would have their hands full with Denver, with them now healthier than they've been all season too.
Yeah, I mean, this series is for sure still going to go 6 or 7 games throughout the postseason whenever these two teams do meet, if they meet in the West Finals, because Denver's the 6th seed and they upset San Antonio, or if they meet in the second round because Denver's the 4th seed and they meet OKC in the second round. It's going to be a long series. And last night, yes, Aaron Gordon was spectacular. If you're Oklahoma City, you're saying, well, get J-Dub back, and now you have Chet back, and now you have these bodies so you can throw at him instead of putting guards on Aaron Gordon and not letting him get hot. And so then that changes the equation of how these two teams match up. But if you're Denver, Peyton Watson's been incredible. Look, there's no such thing as a Shai stopper, just like there's no such thing as a Jokić stopper. I mean, yesterday, J-Will was fantastic defensively. There's no notes on what he could have done better, and yet Jokić still got 32 points, 14 rebounds, 13 assists on 63% shooting. And it was not because J-Will was not playing great defense, it's just because Jokić is great. And that same thing applies to Shai, but Watson is their best player to try to defend Shai, and it allows you to not play so heavy traps on him and to not blitz him so heavily off the pick and roll, and that can change how these role players for the Thunder can get loose. So both teams have different ways that they can improve from last night, that they can play better than last night. But the history of these two teams tells us, I mean, you can take away this guy here, take away that guy there, from the standpoint of them not playing, from the standpoint of them having bad games. But ultimately, these are two great teams. And in the end, it's going to be a clutch time game. And you'd lean the Thunder because of their success in the clutch versus Denver's lack of success in the clutch. But it's going to go a very long ways in the sense of competitiveness, in the sense of the amount of games you got to play. It's hard to win in Denver. It's hard to win in OKC. Each team has gotten a big-time road win in the last postseason on the other's home floor. And so home court advantage will be a big deal as well. But I think that this series will for sure still go 6 or 7 games.
More to come on the Oklahoma City Thunder squad show. Big night for J-Will last night. He's played some really good basketball as of late. And Ajay Mitchell making his return and had a good night as well. We'll talk about that as we're halfway home here on the Oklahoma City Thunder squad show. It's tax time, but for a lot of us, the old way of doing taxes is a lot. Trying to book an appointment that's not the most convenient, still waiting in a room with a stack of papers, emailing back and forth and wondering if they really get your situation. But this year, you're getting a major upgrade. Intuit TurboTax now has in-person locations nationwide. You can meet face-to-face with a real tax expert, and your documents get uploaded straight to your TurboTax account on the spot. And just like that, you're done. Your TurboTax expert works to get you every dollar you deserve, while you get real-time notifications as you go about your day. It's the relief of walking in and meeting a real person and walking out knowing your taxes are being handled right. Head to TurboTax.com/local to find a store near you and book your appointment today. Thunder Squad Show rolls on. Derek Parker, Jeremy Lamb, Rylan Stiles, Tyler Jones back here with you now. How about J-Will last night with his performance for Oklahoma City? Played 40 minutes, scored 29 points, going 10 of 17 from the field, 7 of 11 from 3, along with 12 rebounds and 3 assists. Derek, we'll start with you. Another good performance from J-Will, and he has been on quite a tear the last several weeks here.
Yeah, I'm getting deja vu talking about, a big Jaylin Williams performance. Like last time we saw it, and it's kind of more in spot minutes. And last year in the postseason, we saw it where he's coming in reserve of Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein and battling with Jokić. And now it's, he's doing it across 40 minutes and scoring, 29 points on himself. I mean, this is unbelievable production from a guy who, is the third string center. Obviously a key rotational piece, a big part of the locker room here, but it would not be expected to do this on any given night. So the fact that he can scale up, score this much, rebound the ball like this, we didn't even see much of the hub-esque passing ability, and he's obviously phenomenal at that. So just a remarkable season for J-Will. In his last 15 games, 12 points on 50, 40, 90 splits. Again, the depth of this Thunder team to have the third string center, the third string front court rotational player step up and add double-digit scoring, 7 rebounds per game, 3 assists, a block, which was not a strong suit coming into the league, and then do it on 50, 40, 90. That's just incredible.
The development of this guy, from where he was at when he walked in the building to where he is now, he's certainly come a long way. And nights like last night don't really come as a surprise anymore because we've seen him do this before.
Yeah, I think that with Will, you're looking at a guy that he's the Thunder's most incredible success story when it comes to development. Like what he's able to do now compared to as a rookie, it's hard to even put into words. Of just Sam Presti summarized it best. Like, it's so rare to see a guy who steps into the league and then gets more athletic. Like, that does not happen. Usually your athleticism kind of flattens out in the NBA because now everybody's athletic and now you're kind of on a different sort of grading curve. With Will, he's really worked on his body. He's really worked on his ability to be agile. His lateral quickness has gotten a lot better. And defensively, he's more than just a charge taker right now. He's in a much better position, especially defending pick and roll coverages where he's able to play level with the screen and hedge. He's able to play drop. He's able to wall up at the rim and deter shots there. While he doesn't have huge block numbers, he has a lot of great alteration moments where he forces you to change how your shot looks at the rim, and thus the touch being off and the miss. His rebounding has been incredible over this last stretch. I mean, the ways that he's learned, I think, from Isaiah Hartenstein, how to box out, how to maximize his size. He's an undersized center, but you watch him and the way that he high points rebounds, he utilizes every single inch he has available to him. I mean, he just goes up there and is able to use his frame to the best of his ability. The playmaking has been incredible for him, especially in this stretch where the Thunder have been down creators. And even last night where they had two great ones with AJ and with SGA setting the table. Even last night, you saw that it was Will who out of the short roll makes another great pass and gets a guy open because of his ball movement. You know, he threw into McCain for a three. He was really good in that role too. And he's getting better as a rim finisher as well. Last night he had a huge moment with Jokić draped all over him, threw up a shot in the dunker spot and kissed it off the glass. Should have been an and one, but no call there for Will. And he continues to step up and continues to be great. And this is, again, the best third-string center that the league has to offer, the very, very best one. And he's been playing so well that you wonder what he could look like with a much larger role and how he could look as a primary backup center, how he could look as a starting center. But, man, it's been great for Will.
I mentioned all the things he's been doing well. And Jeremy, what I point to is that even though his scoring output has increased so much this season, I appreciate that he's not just focused in on scoring. It's not something like, okay, my offensive game is there, now I'm just going to be an offensive guy. No, he is still improving the other aspects of his game as well.
Yeah, just like how y'all highlighted all the great things that he does on the court. One thing I'm gonna highlight is his decision making on both ends. Like, I played with big men that can shoot but don't know when to shoot and when to go dribble handoff, or when to leave your man to go for that block or go for that charge, whatever it is. I feel like even when he's hot, even when you see it now. I mean, he scored 29 points. He know in his head he probably could do that more, but when he's on the floor, he's playing the flow of the game. He never holds it. If he has a shot, he might hesitate for a second. If not, he's going right to the dribble handoff. And little stuff like that, the backdoor passes, little stuff like that is what keep your offense flowing when you really have trust in your bigs. Because if you look at it, that's where all the action is made, when your big rim runs, or when your big sets a good screen. Like, people are too good defensively. They holding you too much for the fact that if you don't have a good big man to set screens and all that, you're not going to get much. You got to be Shai or somebody like that. Everybody's not Shai. So just seeing all the stuff that he can do on the court any given night, whether he needs to score, whether he needs to take charges, whether he needs to play defense, whether he needs to play make, it's always good to have that in your third string big man. That's incredible. So shout out to Sam Presti for seeing that, because I ain't see it when he first got in the league.
I think everyone in this panel, this segment, has mentioned, and it's a very important point, third string center. But with that said, Derek, of him being the third string center here, when this team does get these guys back, and we're talking about the different lineups and the different things that they can potentially do here, what a weapon to have at your disposal as your third string center here in Jaylin Williams, knowing what he can do.
Yeah, and third string really isn't a slight or a diss to him. It's just in the sense of,
Fact.
Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren are there. Like, they're 7-footers and they're equally skilled. So I think to kind of marry these ideas together, what makes Jay Will so versatile and such a weapon, to your point, is that he's worked on these parts of his game that can allow him to play with other bigs or as the sole big. Like, he can volume shoot threes, he can defend and hold his own. Obviously, that's much better over the course of spot minutes on a guy like Nikola Jokić, but he's proved that, he can go out and he can start a game and play 30 minutes and not hemorrhage points in the paint. And he can, to Jeremy's point, make quick decisions and process the game rapidly. And he's just a phenomenal player, very versatile, and obviously a key piece to this rotation, whether he's starting, second string, third string, it doesn't matter. Whether he's just like yelling for his teammates, he's obviously a huge part of this team and just a core glue rotational piece on this Thunder squad.
Looking ahead to the postseason, are there any specific teams or matchups that you can point to that you say Jay Will could potentially be important here?
Yeah, I think that they're obviously Denver is the one that you'd point to and say that he'd be very important. Cleveland, if the Cleveland Cavaliers got to the NBA Finals and so did the Thunder, that'd be important. Detroit, same thing. I think that another way he can be important is, let's say that this hot streak does keep up for him, and now he'd put together 3/4 of a season where he's been playing really great basketball. If this continues throughout the rest of the regular season, then, yes, he's still their third string center. But whenever you start Chet and Ihart together, if you have this much confidence and this much belief in Jay Will, you can play Chet and Isaiah Hartenstein for half a quarter, for 3/4 of a quarter, and then know that, hey, yeah, going to have to take both of them out at the same time. Going to have a lot of rest for those two guys to make up for this long stretch we just played double bigs, which is the Thunder's best lineup. But it's okay. Jay was going to go in there and he's going to make it happen. And then you can play small and steal some minutes there as well. So the growth of Jay Will can allow him to play in almost any matchup, especially in any matchup where double bigs would be necessary for OKC to have an advantage, because you now trust him more to elevate into a backup role. Because while he'd still be the third best center on the roster, he would effectively be their number 2 center if you're going to start and stick with Chet and Ihart for extended minutes. And Jay Will now gives you that flexibility to do that, for trusting him to knock down shots and play off the catch and get to the rim and play great defense. You trust Jay Will to do those things, and it now allows you to play your best lineups more and elevates him to that second string center role, even as you still have Chet and Ihart.
We've mentioned how far he's come in a short amount of time. What do you want to see him do next? What's the next step up for him potentially at this point? Or has he already reached his ceiling here?
Your mic cut out on who you're addressing that to, so I'll just start with I think that the cap of Jay Will has kind of been seen at this point. The next step is just polish. Like, not really adding anything to his game, but if he can polish the DHO stuff and the high post playmaking to where he's not as reliant on just the bounce passes, which are electric. Like, can you throw a frozen rope in there to avoid the situation where the Knicks were able to have like 5 kickballs in a row to disrupt his playmaking in the high post? Like, polishing that part of his game, polishing his rim finishing, because we've seen him hit some crazy acrobatic layups, but it's been few and far between that he's actually converted on. If all of a sudden he can finish around the rim with more finesse whenever he is playing off the catch, like, that could be a huge deal as well. And then defensively, there's not anything there that I think that he even needs to polish off, because I do think that he's hit his ceiling defensively. He's gotten much better athletically. He's not going to all of a sudden have a 40-inch vertical. Like, he's not all of a sudden going to jump out of the gym. So, like, this is the best you can hope for with him on the defensive end of the floor. But offensively, if he can always improve in terms of his consistency with his shot making from beyond the arc, but especially if he can go from a high-end, really good playmaker to an elite playmaker, the same way that Ihart has over his career, where Ihart showed the flashes of it, Ihart then became pretty good at it. Ihart then became someone who you could rely on, to now Ihart is the best, second best playmaking center in the league, only behind Jokić. Like, if Jay Will can have that same progression of just polishing off that skill set that he already has, that takes him to another level.
Jeremy, what say you on that point Rylan just made? What are some things that you want to see potentially next for Jay Will to take another step up here?
Yeah, I would say continue working on his shot. Um, work on your handle. That helps your touch around the rim. Not to just go handle the ball, but to help your touch. To Rylan's point in terms of finishes and stuff like that. He's not gonna just go up and over people. So got to have a little different finishes. And I'll say um, rebounding too. Sometimes his rebounding is a little up and down. Most of the time he rebound okay, but he could be. I feel like he could become a beast on the rebound offensive end as well, just mixing it up that way. But to Rylan's point, yeah, I feel like he's hit his ceiling in a lot of areas, but keep working. You never know. He might pull something else out the hat.
Derek, we'll give you the last word here. One thing that stands out too, besides just the way his game has developed, I know this kind of easily said, but this is one of the most well-liked guys in the locker room too. I mean, he's not just a good player, but this is a great teammate for these guys too.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a positive all the way around for this team. Like I said, whether it's, simply cheering his teammates on, which some of it was that early in his career, and now he's blossomed into a legitimate rotational piece. I echo all of what these guys have said. I think he has reached the ceiling in a few areas, but otherwise, I think there's certainly still ways that he can improve. I think the finishing is an obviously big one. I think perimeter defense, like he's a pretty quick guy. He's slimmed down. I think there's still ways that we could see him, slide his feet on the perimeter a little bit. Obviously, the high-end passing playmaking. I think a lot of what Rylan was talking about comes with reps, which he hasn't had in this system specifically, but there's probably still a lot of polish to add to things with that include actually giving him the ball. So phenomenal player, phenomenal person, just the embodiment of Thunder development and culture in one guy.
Final segment coming up next. Ajay Mitchell has made his return, and he had a very solid night for Oklahoma City. We'll discuss that as we wrap up here on this Tuesday edition of the Oklahoma City Thunder Squad Show. College basketball is nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every night, from early tip-offs to late-night West Coast shootouts. There's always action on the board. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger potential wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. You can build any college hoops parlay you want, rivalry games, ranked matchups, whatever fits your needs. You can mix spreads, totals, and player props to match how you see the slate playing out, and then you apply the profit boost and instantly bump up the potential payout. Go safe, go bold, ride with the team you've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style, now with more upside behind it. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. Wrapping up here on the Oklahoma City Thunder Squad Show, Derek Parker, Rylan Stiles, Jeremy Lamb, Tyler Jones back here with you now. Ajay Mitchell back on the floor for the Oklahoma City Thunder, making his much-anticipated return last night. First time we'd seen him since January 21st. And boy, did he make his presence known with 24 points, also had 3 assists and 2 rebounds in the win for the Thunder. Rylan, really good showing from Ajay Mitchell last night. He was back like he never left.
Yeah, he was, and he had a lot of energy. He was bouncing around pregame. He was in it during the game where you could tell this was a guy who has not had to play the whole season. Unlike the rest of the guys on the floor, he had a different Energizer Bunny about him, which was great for this Thunder team. And to come in off of this injury, he has not played since January 21st, and to be this smooth in your return, this efficient and this aggressive was great for this Thunder team. And I know that everybody cannot wait to get healthy for this Thunder team. You can't wait to see J-Dub back in there, and you can't wait to see Jokić and Caruso, etc. Even when this team is fully healthy, Ajay Mitchell is still going to be a massive part of what they do, because Ajay Mitchell changes the dynamic of this team so much. Ajay Mitchell allows this team to be better equipped this year, even with all the adversity they've gone through. They're better equipped this year to handle what playoff basketball is because of Ajay Mitchell, because he's another guy who can handle the basketball. He's another guy who can create shots for himself. He's another guy who can create shots for others. He's an automatic paint touch. He gets to the free throw line better than anybody on this roster not named Shai. He got there more than Shai yesterday. He's just incredible on that end of the floor, and he's improved defensively where he can, his first minute in the game, steal and score in the fast break. He can get deflections. He can play in the passing lanes. He can stand up in isolation until you can get the proper switch back and get over a screen. He's been really good for this team. He continues to be really good for this team. And if he's healthy, of course, he changes what they can do in the postseason and changes how you can defend this roster. You look at that last play, that Shai buzzer, that Shai basically buzzer beater, that Shai dagger at the end, that's set up by having Ajay Mitchell who can get the inbound and set Shai up instead of having Shai needing to get the inbound and immediately getting a double team, which they did see 2 weeks ago on that Friday game against Denver where Shai had to get the inbound. Instead, you got another playmaker. He could get the inbound, and then he could set up Shai. Denver can't double. Shai hits the shot. We're talking Shai, but it's set up by Ajay Mitchell.
Yeah. What a performance from Ajay Mitchell. And to think that this is year 2 of Ajay Mitchell, former second-round pick, and Jeremy, looking at him right now, I believe he's not going to be eligible for any awards with the 65-game rule, but already he's looking like one of the best six-man in all of the league right now.
He is incredible. I mean, he didn't miss a beat. And just watching him play, I really feel like the game is under control when he has the ball in his hands. Like Rylan said, with that play at the end when he got it to Shai, if they had denied Shai, because he had the ball, they still were confident that if Shai didn't get it, they still would have created a good shot. Because, I mean, like y'all was saying, he's a automatic paint toucher. The way he's fast, he's strong, but he knows that angle. He makes people foul him. It's great to have somebody like that to fall back on. When you already have people to fall back on, you could still fall back on him coming off the bench, keeping that lineup together, keeping the game under control, whether you're at home or away. You know, he doesn't get rattled no matter, where they are, if they're down, whatever it is, how much time is left. I just feel like he's in control. And he didn't look like he was out at all. Yesterday he had energy, he was playing physical on both ends. So to see him come back with that, having that extra step and having that energy is huge. So shout out to him for still having confidence, being aggressive, and the team letting him be who he is.
Derek, I would say that when you look at Ajay Mitchell, we mentioned this been the second year and everything of him. He feels like he is wise beyond his years, that he has a very mature game that he brings to the table for this Oklahoma City Thunder team. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, he plays like a vet. I think control, Jeremy's word, is just the perfect word. Like he's not sped up, but he can speed up when he wants to. He said last night after the game that his burst doesn't even feel like it's back, which is unbelievable because it looks pretty good to me. He was getting by people. He was getting into the mid-range, getting to the rim, shooting threes. So it's still pretty absurd to me that we're talking about like a 2-time MVP, 2 different All-Stars in Dub and Chet, an All-NBA player in Dub. We've got Hartenstein and all these different pieces. And then you turn around and Ajay Mitchell again, dude hasn't even played 82 games yet. And he's this good, like unreal, just unreal depth from this Thunder team. He's phenomenal. There's comments here that he might have an all-star ceiling. I don't even disagree. Like if you throw this guy on an Eastern Conference team right now, he might be an all-star. He is absurdly good.
It's something else. And when you think about the future ahead, Rylan, beyond this year, Ajay Mitchell is going to be a part of this team's future in a significant role for a very, very long time, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he's an incredible diamond in the rough to get in the second round. It's a guy that they really targeted in that second round to make all these trades. I mean, it took like 5 trades to get it done, but they did get their guy. They extended him on a very team-friendly deal this past off season, or him and Jared McCain, who had some big-time moments in the clutch last night. Both of these guys did. they're making a combined $7.5 million next year. Like, that's nothing for two rotational players. And AJ has that team option to take him through the 27-28 season. And I think that, of course, they're going to prioritize re-signing him at that point. But this is still a 3-year runway for him to continue to progress, continue to develop. I think that when you look at it, what AJ is able to do for this team, it is so valuable in the sense of we saw how it could help yesterday with Shai, but that same thing can apply to J-Dub as well. He can really help J-Dub stay in a off-ball role. Like, J-Dub's so used to playing off of Shai that now in those secondary units, whenever you saw last night, Shai got back to his normal rotation of playing the full 12 minutes of the first and third quarter, and the start of the second quarter, start of the fourth quarter. Instead of it all being on J-Dub to go figure it out, J-Dub can play his traditional role off of AJ, get set up by AJ to have some success as a scorer, and he can set AJ up because AJ can also play off ball, and these guys all work together. So the partnership between him and your core nucleus of Shai, J-Dub, and Chet, as we talked all year about Chet being a play finisher, you need a table setter to be a play finisher. AJ's just that. Like, the way that he fits with the top of the line guys on this roster, the way that he lifts up the rotational players on this roster, like, he is a building block for the rest of this iteration of the Thunder for this long runway they have of potential success and the possible dynasty ahead for OKC.
Into the Locked On Thunder podcast. Make sure you subscribe and follow the Locked On Thunder podcast. You get all the latest episodes. If you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get the Locked On Thunder podcast ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to LockedOnThunder.supercast.com to join the club. For those of you on video, we send you the first ever 24/7 national NBA YouTube channel. On audio, make sure your second listen, NBA Game Night on Locked On NBA. Derek, when we talk comparisons, who do you think he ends up being? What player do you see him potentially resembling that he becomes for Oklahoma City?
Yeah, I really don't know. It's tough. I'm not great myself at player comparisons. I mean, obviously, he's just so good at so many different things. Like, we talk about the offense and the table setting, and all the things he can do in terms of scoring the ball, playmaking for others. He's also pretty good on defense. Like, it doesn't necessarily stand out, but I mean, he was hustling around. He was guarding Jamal Murray last night, and sure, Jamal Murray got a few to go. That's always going to happen, but he also played really well. I think, opposing players are shooting somewhere in the realm of 30-ish%, 35% whenever being guarded by Ajay Mitchell. So I don't know that I have a comparison. Obviously, people like to make the early OKC James Harden comparison. There's some differences. I don't totally agree with that, as Rylan's shaking his head, but yeah, he's his own guy, certainly. Like, he's going to carve out his own path in this league, and I think that's just fine because he's going to be really, really good.
Jeremy, looking at Ajay Mitchell here, and you think about, like, postseason time, finding those players to step up. I think he's critical to the Thunder's postseason success. He's not just another guy now. This is somebody they're going to depend on.
Yeah. Like Rylan said earlier, I mean, it's his impact on the team, even though they have all-stars and all NBA players, and, they have that. They have a deep team. That's what a championship team is, but he's a critical part, even though he's young, even though, he don't have as many reps. He looks ready. I mean, he plays physical on both ends. And most of the time when you're a young player, your defense comes along, after your offense. And most of the time, you got to talk to young players about playing hard. Like me, they talk about run back on defense. I knew me hitting a three would get me on the court. So that's all I cared about. But with him, he's like, nah, like he gives it his all on both ends. And that's rare in a young player. So just going ahead. I know if I was in the playoffs, I definitely would want somebody like that, home or away, by my side to fight with me, because that's what he does when he's out there. He makes it easier on the whole team offensively, and he's just hustling his tail off on the defensive end.
Big few days ahead for the Thunder, as SGA will go for the record on Thursday night against the Celtics. Then on Sunday, it is an NBA showcase game on ABC taking on the T-Wolves. And then on Tuesday, they'll play the Orlando Magic. You guys know the song. 3 straight playoff teams that they'll be facing in the next 3 games. And Rylan, you'll be covering it all right here on the Lockdown Thunder podcast.
That's right. We have Justin Martinez of the Oklahoman on tomorrow to go through Shai's historic streak and what a great game that you have in store for Boston. We have Derek Parker on, a familiar face for Wednesday, of course. Crossover with the Celtics going to happen before the Thursday game against Boston, recapping that Boston game, of course. We have
Did we lose Rylan's audio there?
What happened to the sound?
There we go. Subscribe to Lockdown Thunder. Anywhere's your podcast around. We have the daily show. We have the bonus shows, and of course the squad show. So plenty of content out there for you.
All right. Good stuff, guys. That does it for the squad show here on this Tuesday. Back again on Thursday at 3:30 Central Time. We'll see you then. For Rylan Stiles, Jeremy Lamb, Derek Parker, I'm Tyler Jones saying so long. Have a great day, everybody.